So the Sony State of Play for June 2025 has just wrapped up. I'm about to head out the door to go to a midnight launch for the Nintendo Switch 2, but you know I have to cover this. It was an interesting State of Play, though. You know, I've been kind of negative about some of these. There was something I feel like for everyone at this event, but there definitely was one thing that was missing. That is very, very noticeable. But let's just hop straight into this event. If you enjoy this content, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Lumines Arise is coming in fall of 2025. If you're unfamiliar with what Lumines is, it is a fun puzzle game. It'll be available on the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation VR 2. Now, the original franchise was back on the PSP, but there were some of the better games on the system, like all things considered. Very fun, very, a lot of music stuff involved in it. Really good music, really cool visual aesthetic. It looks pretty cool. I don't know how the standard PlayStation audience will love this being like the first game shown, but hey, I enjoyed it. Fall of 2025. Another surprise, Pragmata is not canceled. Remember that Capcom game that they showed off years and years ago and then nothing ever really happened with it? It's a third-person action game set in outer freaking space. You have a little kid AI thing that's like a sidekick, and it's got a really high-pitched voice. It's a little girl or something. I don't know. I don't really like that. The combat does look pretty solid. We'll definitely need to see more from this game, though, just because of how long, it's been in development, as far as, why was it taking so long? What were you doing that made it take so long? But it does have potential. It says it is coming out in 2026 at some point in time. Next up was a game called Romeo is Dead. And once again, this kind of looked pretty fun to me. It's kind of like Dead Rising on like crack with a little bit of No More Heroes mixed into it, which, I couldn't quite put my finger on it. I was like, this definitely feels a little bit No More Heroes-y. Even the way like the individual holds their little chainsaw, that's very familiar. It is a 2026 game, maybe, according to the trailer. And sure enough, it is a Grasshopper game. It is a Suda51 game. It definitely looks light years better than what No More Heroes 3 was, which was a super big disappointment to me. But this is definitely something I'll keep my eye on. Once again, another 2026 game. There were quite a few of the 2026 games at this event. But, you got to wait for certain games to come out, I guess. Silent Hill F was up next, aka Silent Hill, essentially in the world of Siren. Of course, Siren is a Japanese horror franchise that Sony had, and, it was pretty good on the PS2, and then they did the weird one on the PS3, and then Sony was just like, nope, no more Siren, which, I don't know, it's kind of a shame to me. You play as a Japanese schoolgirl in a world of scary things. Are they in your head? Are they actually happening? Are you all alone? Are there people out there with you? It looks all right, honestly. There's some combat with like a lead pipe and a crowbar that they showed off in the trailer. It's definitely very different than most other Silent Hill games are. Most Silent Hill games are, they're not really focused on certain things, but there's definitely a lot of Japanese culture in this one, which, it might actually make it for a more interesting Silent Hill style game. September 25th of 2025, something to keep an eye on. There was a 2D or 2.5D side-scrolling Castlevania looking game up next. I like the art style. The combat looks really fun. I feel like I've seen this before. It literally says in my notes, I feel like we've seen this before, but I could be wrong. But hey, it's a new Bloodstained game. Bloodstained: The Scarlet Engagement. And that's why it looked a lot like Castlevania. That's why I felt like I had seen this before, because it's utilizing that probably the same Bloodstained engine from the original game. Now, this is a game where, just a minor nitpick, I hate when they announce the name of the game at the end of the trailer, because then it just makes me look like an idiot when I'm writing down my notes. So I made it a point to leave this in my notes so that, you can feel my pain or something, I guess. Digimon Story: The Stranger was up next. Digimon, Digital Monsters. I don't Digimon, and honestly, I'm kind of shocked that Pokemon hasn't, tried to sue them or anything because of the Mon part. But the game looks decent enough if you're a fan of Pokemon or Digimon, I guess. You got some cel-shaded visuals and all that sort of stuff. Multi-platform release comes out on October 3rd of 2025. A badly kept secret, Final Fantasy Tactics, is getting new life on the PlayStation 5. It is, of course, a classic strategy RPG game from the PlayStation 1, a very underrated genre, turn-based stuff on the grid. Like, I kind of like these games from time to time. It's called Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles. There are two modes of the game that you can play. You can actually play the original PlayStation 1 mode, the vanilla version of the game, or you could play a game with improved visuals, which really just looks like a filter to me. Like, it doesn't look like they actually changed anything. It almost looks like an emulation filter. They added in voice acting, various quality of life improvements and stuff like that. So it's cool. You know, you could choose to play either version of the game, and both of them are included for one price. Game comes out on September 30th. Very cool to see that. Then there was like people talking, and the guy let us know the next game is so funny he almost barfed. It's that stupid ass Baby Steps game. Comes out on September 8th. I think this just looks like, I'm a lowbrow person, and this looks lowbrow to me. Like, that's how, no, just no thank you. September 8th, if you're interested. You know, this is kind of a rapid fire thing. There was a game called Hirogami. It's a puzzle platformer action game. You use origami shapes to do battle. September 3rd. Only thing I know about origami is there's this weird kid who had like a big head in high school. His name was Victor, and he used to do origami. Everybody's Everybody's Golf Hot Shots, I should say, was up next. We saw this at a Nintendo presentation. You can pre-order the game for Pac-Man. Comes out on September 5th. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound was up next. Game looks great, of course. You know, between this and the upcoming Shinobi game, like, if you grew up during the 8 and 16-bit era, like, we are eating good. Like, us old people, we are eating very, very good. That game will be releasing on July 31st. And then Karen, a climbing game. I remember seeing this before. You climb up mountains. Climb up Sunshine Mountain. Heavenly breezes blow. I'm not interested in this, but there's a demo available today. Comes out on November 5th. An OG Mortal Kombat collection from Digital Eclipse. Now we are talking. The old man in me was very excited for this, and I feel like old men throughout the world were very excited for this. This is a compilation of Mortal Kombat 1 through 4 and more, they said. You have arcade versions, you have home console versions, you have handheld versions like Game Gear and Game Boy versions on this. Old men, we are eating good. I'm telling you, this is sick as hell. I think it looks so good. There's online rollback with rollback netcode. There's of course going to be behind the scenes stuff. They even got Ed Boon and John Tobias in the same room to do a shot of playing on a Mortal Kombat cabinet, which, if you know like the history between them, that's actually a pretty big deal. I think this looks so awesome. Obviously, it's going to be a multi-platform release, but this is by far a day one for me. Like, Mortal Kombat, you know, some of the original games don't play all that great or whatever, but it's what they did for the industry, and kind of like the middle finger to like censorship and stuff like that. Very important stuff. That'll be coming out in 2025, and PlayStation is also making a fight stick, and they decided to throw that in there as well. Then, of course, Metal Gear Solid Omega Snake Eater. I'm just going to call it Metal Gear Solid 3 remastered, I guess, was shown. This is something I've obviously been watching with a keen eye, because this is one of my favorite games of all time. Like, it's in my top 5. Some days I may even put it as number 1. The visuals look absolutely fantastic. Like, this is one of the better looking games that I've seen for like this console generation. So I'm super stoked on that. They also showed off the 8 mini game, which we've seen that before. That's going to be in it. That's cool too. But then there was something that you got to be an old school Metal Gear Solid 3 fan, and not just a Metal Gear Solid 3 fan, but a Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence fan, because they definitely teased online, the online modes. They definitely teased it. And they said there's more coming. They said, and more. And then they did a little tease of the online modes. Bro, if this has online in it, I'm going to be like so ecstatic. I played that game and Metal Gear Solid 4 online so much. Like, it was ridiculous. I loved playing as Raidenkov, and I would just spam protect me over and over again. Dude, I'm so stoked. August 28th is the release date. I'm sure they'll talk about the online stuff very, very soon, but holy shit, man, this was awesome to me. Neo 3 was showcased. I've never played the other 2 Neo games. It looks cool. Honestly, I was messaging the group chat that they teased Metal Gear Online for Metal Gear Solid 3 at the time of this reveal, because I was just way too stoked. It's a samurai game. Now there's a ninja style available. There's a demo out today. It comes out in early 2026. I'm not trying to shade the game or anything like that. I was not paying attention. A PSVR 2 game a Thief VR game. Thief, of course, being a very popular franchise that was big on the PC. Looks pretty interesting, sneaky sneak game. I haven't touched my PlayStation VR 2 in like so long though, so yeah, I don't really know. I don't know if this will make me hop back into it. Next up was a multiplayer story game from the Road 96 people, which is actually a kind of underrated game. It looks pretty ambitious because it's a multiplayer story game, and like your actions shape their story and their actions shape your story. And like I didn't really fully grasp what they were doing with this, but I think it looks unique. At the very least, it's very unique. The game is called Tides of Tomorrow. The art style is pretty cool as well. A February 2026 game could be something worth keeping your eye on. They're adding in 5 more challenge levels to Astrobot with special new bots. They're also re-releasing the Astrobot controller. Sea of Remnants was up next. It's a pirate game. It looks kind of like Sea of Thieves on crack. Like the visual style is kind of Sea of Thievesy, but I think it looks better than Sea of Thieves does. Like it's more refined, it's more detailed than what Sea of Thieves does in terms of their visuals. And there's definitely some elements of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag in this as well. It's definitely a very lighthearted game. It seems like there's RPG elements. There may even be like a roguelike element because they kind of showed like the dude like dying and then starting at like the base of a large pirate camp. So I almost kind of got a roguelike feel to it. Not entirely sure. The game is coming out in 2026. So, a little bit of a ways away, but that's pretty cool. The people who made Journey are back with another game that looks like Journey with more environments. I mean, very popular game, very critically acclaimed game. I never played it though. I did play and beat Abzu, which was like their underwater game, which I actually kind of like that. I thought it was pretty good. The game is called Sword of the Sea. It comes out on August 19th. Then we got some game catalog updates. They're adding in the PS2 version of Deus Ex, Twisted Metal 3 and 4, Resident Evil 2 and 3, Myst and Riven. They're also, not doing more PS2 games beyond just Deus Ex, which, I mean, I really wish there was more PS2 games available on the PlayStation thing. Like my premium thing is still going, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Then we got to look at the new James Bond game. Now this of course is coming to us from the people who have made Hitman, and I don't know who this James Bond is. I think it's a new James Bond character. It is a third person game, and you could definitely sort of see like DNA of Hitman, but Hitman is definitely a much slower paced game, and this looks like there's a lot more action. Of course, you have various James Bond related gadgets, there's combat, there's situations. This was a mixture of gameplay and like cutscenes and stuff like that. So we'll see more from it as, time goes on, but, there was stealth stuff, there was action stuff, there was driving stuff that they showed off. I think it looks pretty cool, honestly. Like, it feels like, I don't want to say this in like how we talk about like the modern audience or whatever, and usually what that entails, but it feels like a modern James Bond, kind of like, just time frame wise. Like, it doesn't feel like it's supposed to be like in the 60s or 70s or something like that, like a Sean Connery or even a Pierce Brosnan. Like, it feels like it's in a modern current setting. Maybe that's a better word for it. It's a current James Bond. There's definitely some potential there. It's called First Light 007, comes out in 2026. Now, like I said at the start of this video, there was definitely something missing from this presentation that I noticed, because we're at the 44-minute mark of this presentation, and we have not seen the PlayStation Studios logo one time. Well, they flashed the PlayStation Studios logo. They do a little tease for Ghost of Yotai, and that was it. They were like, there's a gameplay deep dive in July. Here is a very yellow-toothed wolf for you. And then the final game was honestly very shocking. I am surprised that this has not leaked. PlayStation Studios logo flashes. Arc System Works flashes. Now, if you know anything about Arc System Works, they are known for fighting games. And wowzers, a Marvel fighting game is going to be exclusive to PlayStation 5. It is called Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, and it is a new fighting game done in conjunction with Sony and Arc System Works, utilizing Marvel characters. So they showed like Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, Doctor Doom, Storm, all sorts of different characters. They said that there are more characters to unveil as well. Iron Man was also there. It was honestly kind of funny to me because Captain America was there too, but all of the voiceovers were done in Japanese for this. So like to see, a Japanese Captain America speaking in Japanese, like it kind of made me laugh a little bit. But this is essentially a 4-on-4 tag team battle game where you have 4 different characters that you can swap in and out. It's essentially like a Marvel versus Capcom 4 or something like that if you really want to go that far, although, there aren't any Capcom characters in it. Now, this is a 2026 game, and I think this game looks really, really freaking cool. Like, definitely a surprise announcement, something that I don't think anyone was really expecting, and I think the game looks very, very good. And then that was the end of the presentation. So, kind of a bit of a mixed bag. There was a lot of stuff that I definitely liked, as far as getting the announcements. I think Romeo is Dead Man looks cool. Ninja Gaiden looks cool, of course. Metal Gear Solid 3 was definitely awesome. The new James Bond game looks really awesome. The Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls looks awesome. But, there was only 2 PlayStation 5 exclusive games as far as PlayStation Studios games. And one was just a game we already knew about. And they said, oh, we'll show you more in July. And the next one was a fighting game coming out in 2026. So it kind of makes you wonder, what is going on with PlayStation? Do they have, what do they have for 2025? Where's Fair Games? What's going on with Marathon? What was that? Didn't people say there was going to be a God of War thing? Now, there is, of course, Summer Game Fest coming up, so there could be some stuff there. But overall, I didn't hate this show. I actually got some enjoyment out of it. I thought it was well-paced. Some games are obviously going to hit more with me than others, but it was all right. It was. I didn't feel like I wasted my time watching this. There was definitely some cool stuff, some stuff I wasn't familiar with, some new announcements. It's just, I just wish, where you can't show me any Wolverine, you can't show me any Venom. That would have really put this over the top, I think, with everyone. I think everyone would have been happy. Because if these, third party, if you're someone who only plays, first party games on PlayStation like I am, it's kind of a little bit where's the games? I'm excited for the games that they showed, but I also realize I don't have to play them on PlayStation because 90% of them were third party games. But let me know what you think of this state of play in the comment section down below. Like I said, I'm headed out the door to go to a midnight launch for the Switch 2. Your boy is going to get one. So be on the lookout for that. I'll be uploading videos at 2 in the morning, dog, Eastern time. I'm about to go drink a bunch of caffeine and get hyped up. Hope you enjoyed this video. Give me your thoughts on this state of play in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. Hit that subscribe button if you are new. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.